Women can 100% be sexist. And I talk about this in my speaking engagements using data I've collected from other women. I'm Dr. Anna Kalschmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from low income backgrounds. I've made a couple videos on the cultural cycles framework, so check those out. But when women are sexist, it's this level, the internalized, the at the individual level. Does that mean anyone else in the cycle is exempt? The systems, interactions with other people, etc.? No. So, keep your critical thinking skills, but we can absolutely internalize this shit and then we perpetrate it, and it's still part of the problem. And for any who might not know, the commenter said she uses agentic traits, and these are typically used to describe men. These are traits that are being like decisive, authoritative, competent, task oriented. These are traits that men are expected to do whether they want to or not, or they're not being man enough. And then women are expected to do communal traits such as being nurturing, kind, agreeable, and people oriented, even if you're trying to be a boss ass bitch. And the problem women run into is that leaders are expected to be agentic, but women are expected to be communal. So women have to decide, am I going to be agentic and be perceived as a leader, which is you're also going to be called a bitch, or am I going to act like a woman and be a good woman, but then I'm not leadership material? And men can run into this as well, particularly men who are not, that's just not their personality. Could do a whole video on that. I have a whole hour training on that, but just let's set some vocabulary. When I was interviewing people from lower income backgrounds on what are the unwritten rules of work as they moved up in their social class and their work environments, many women brought up that other women were hard for them to work with at work and were a barrier to their success. And one of them summed it up in a way that's just, and I want to share it with you. I give keynotes on getting over fear, and I call this the fear of being replaced, which is when you're somebody who is marginalized in some way, from poverty, uh, stigmatized gender, stigmatized race, maybe sexual orientation, etc., and you're afraid of being replaced and you're threatened by people with other marginalized identities. And one of my white women participants summed it up beautifully. There's like one seat out of the table of 10 for women right now, and instead of women lifting each other up to get to that seat, they feel like they have to fight each other. Because if you uplift someone else too much, they're going to take your seat at the table, and you don't want that. And that's not her real name, by the way. That's her pseudonym because confidentiality. In my keynote, I talk about situations where I felt this fear of being replaced and how I had to decide if I was going to be the type of leader who was going to make more room at the table or was going to keep that seat to myself. Have y'all run into this? What do you think?